Well, hello there. Day 4, I think. Yes, it's definitely day 4. We'll get to how it's all going in a bit. But what I thought I'd do today, being that I'm here and I'm having a quick cup of tea, having a bit of a break, is I thought I'd show you around this here studio. Those of you who watch the channel a fair amount will be familiar with where I sit here a lot of the time. But a lot of the other stuff that's around here you don't often get to see, with probably good reason. But I thought I'd show you around because it's where I make stuff, it's where I work, and actually I think there's some stuff that I can tell you that you might find useful about kind of being productive and all the rest of it. So we'll get to that in a sec, but let me show you around. So there are some kind of random bits and pieces lying around the studio, memorabilia, things that you kind of wouldn't generally keep in the house. There's a bit of a rule with things like laminates that they normally go in the downstairs toilet because it's kind of like a humble brag thing. I want to put them out. Oh, leave them in the toilet, at least everyone gets to see them, but I keep mine in here. Anyway, some posters and things. First band I was ever in. This is the band that was signed to Island Records. And then this, so Sonosphere once upon a time was like as big as Download Festival. And I think we're on here somewhere. There we are. It's the band that I used to play in Cars on Fire. But look, Alice Cooper, Alice in Chains, one of my favourite bands of all time, Alice in Chains. Iron Maiden, Rammstein. Very proud of doing that show. So the poster goes there because it's easy to forget, isn't it? Okay, so onwards. This is probably the heart and soul of the studio, actually. Let me stand back so you can get a bit of a view of it. It's a bit cluttered, it's a bit of a mess, but perhaps therein lies its secret. This is where I spend the majority of my time working, and it's a multi-purpose kind of space, really. I do a lot of my BIM work here. I do a lot of my kind of lesson planning and all that kind of stuff. I do all of my kind of film editing. You can see Premiere Pro open here with yesterday's vlog on it. There's Logic running at the bottom here. But I've also got it set up so I can very quickly record ideas for songs and things like that. So we've got a microphone here, headphones, keys, all that kind of stuff. And it's just ready to go whenever. It's not perfect, it's not Abbey Road, but then I'm also not Paul McCartney or John Lennon. So this is pretty much where everything works and where it happens. And more on this in a bit, but basically it just needs to be super slick. So then coming round, we've got this lovely red sofa, which some of you might be familiar with, but that's what it actually looks like from this end of the studio. This brick wall is not some kind of prop or set. This is a 1930s depot actually for the shop that we live in. The other side of that curtain is where the gym is, and it goes back just as far, and if you're well behaved I'll show you what's in there tomorrow. But yeah, just that's what it looks like from the sofa. So if I turn to my right, that's already set up and ready to go. I'll come around to this bit in a sec. So what else have we got? G-plan, table, coffee machine, all necessities, I think you'll agree. And then we've got one of these. Everyone's got one of these in their house. It wouldn't be a house without it. We're talking about Fight Club. I think IKEA gets mentioned in that, doesn't it? Is it a Kallax unit? This was actually in the house when we bought it. But yeah, it's got all my sports science books and my sports biographies and a load of bike packing stuff down here, lighting equipment. All these boxes at the bottom are all audio equipment, GoPro stuff, drones, microphones, cables, all that kind of stuff you need to do production. All gets pulled out of there. You probably think as a professional drummer that I would have a drum kit set up in here. This is everything. This is my entire practice set up, a kick pedal, hi-hat pedal and a pad. That's about the size of it. And then a bunch of gear that gets used occasionally from time to time that just needs to stay out. Cymbals, hardware, congas, and a little flats kit and things like that. So that's this corner here. Patio door, we'll go through there tomorrow. I built this window like a recording studio window. Now obviously you can't see particularly outside. Let me take the frame rate down. This is our garden, and it means that I can sit here during the day and have a cup of coffee and sit and look at the dogs being stupid, running around the garden being divs. But yeah, I sit here quite often and just chill and come up with ideas, write songs, lesson plans, things like that. Oh, check this out. So I was very honoured and privileged to get this. Somebody in the comments was saying about drumming before. So I've always been a Mapex artist ever since I became a professional drummer, whenever that was now, decades ago now. They've always looked after me. Pisces cymbals, Vic Firth sticks, Mapex, protection racket cases, Roland electronics and all that stuff. And on their 30th anniversary, very sweetly, they sent me, this is beautiful, but very difficult to open with one hand, for the love of God. This kind of drum key and a note saying thanks for support and all this stuff, and a beautiful t-shirt, which I've never opened any of this, and a hat, but that drum key and stuff, lovely. What a lovely gesture. Bearing in mind for the last sort of, you know, however many years, I haven't really done a huge amount for them. Anyway, moving on. Okay, this is important. So This is an auto cue, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, but this is the one I use. I've got another one here, I have a spare bigger one, but I tend to use this one just with my phone. So the phone goes in the bottom here, and that pretty much stays on there. And the camera that I'm watching, that you're recording, being recorded on right now here, just literally screws into this. And that goes here, and you look through there, and I read, and you can't see that, and the camera normally goes here, and I talk to the camera there in front of me. And that's how I record an awful lot of my videos. The point being that it's quick, it's slick. There's a traffic light because, you know, every studio needs a traffic light in it, and a fake Fender Stratocaster. That's the band I was talking about that was signed to Ireland, I think. Yeah, there's the label logo. Darth Vader, every studio needs a Darth Vader. Oh, and every studio needs a He-Man. A bunch of things from my past, I guess. My dad's pocket compass, an old, what is that, like a iPod, isn't it? Can't think what generation it was, just bits and pieces, things. And then this desk. So it's an old soundtrack desk from the 80s. Some channels work, some don't. I'd love to get it rekindled, love to breathe some life back into it, but I don't have the money. But basically I use this to mix down. So anyone that's familiar with the recording process, you go to a studio, you record all the tracks separately, and then you mix it. And that process is kind of almost, well, in my head, a separate thing. I'm not very good at mixing, but all of these projects I'm doing at the minute are my own. I'm writing everything, I'm recording everything, mainly what happens over here. So I'll write the ideas and record it. Sometimes what I record here will go into the finished product. Sometimes I'll go into a better studio, and if I have to record acoustic drums, I definitely have to go into a better studio. And then I come back here and I mix it. So I sit at this desk and I put it through these lovely EQs and things like that and make it sound pretty crusty and lovely. I mentioned the laminates earlier, tall laminates. There's a lot of history here. It's a Portishead one we played with. What did we do with them? That was all Tomorrow's Parties. We played in Minehead. There's an Iron Maiden one, a Massive Attack one. We did a show with them, Festival Hall or something. BBC laminates and Boardmasters and God alone knows what. Just lots of history. And you go through those, and the memories that flood through my brain, well, at least the ones I can remember, are many and varied and lovely. And then there's a bunch of other sort of, well, they're all fake guitars. I mean, that is a Fender, but it's the cheapest one they make, and a bass guitar. Now, this one is super cheap guitar, but it holds a bit of significance for me, actually, this guitar here. So during lockdown, as most of you will be aware, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. I found the whole thing very challenging. We were also still teaching at university, had to do everything online. And when we started the lessons, when I started the lessons, I used to put playlists on of just tracks, and sometimes random things would pop up. And one of them was Dave Grohl's acoustic version of Times Like These. And there was a lyric in there that I was just like, geez, I'd never really sort of paid attention to that lyric. The one in the last verse, which is, do I stay or run away and leave it all behind? And I just remember hearing that line and thinking, yeah, I don't have any choice. I can't run away. I've got a wife and kids, and she's not very well. The kids are too young, and we actually have a stupid dog as well. But mentally, I was running away. And that's become a significant thing. And I actually sat down and worked out the chords on this guitar, which isn't really all that. It was all I had to hand. And started to teach myself guitar again, so since lockdown. So hence the reason why I bought all these other bits and pieces. So that guitar is kind of important because it restarted the whole journey for me. And then the last guitar I bought was one of these. It looks lovely, doesn't it? But, you know, you can buy anything at a very cheap price now. Budget pedals, really, all of these. This whole thing, couple of amps. And I sit here and I play guitar really badly. Maybe one day you'll hear all of that. Let me just talk you through a little bit about how this studio is set up. So as I sort of half explained over here, it's about ease of use. It's about kind of, when we moved here, we moved from the tiny shed that those of you who've watched the channel will know. I had my turbo toner set up in there. I had a workbench. I had all my bikes. I had all my wetsuits, and everything was in there. And basically it was just my shed. And I think it was 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters. And one of the reasons I was super unproductive, particularly on this channel, was everything was really slow. I had to move stuff out the way, quite often put stuff in the house or outside in the rain to be able to make the room to do anything. And that friction, and this is where it came from, was Atomic Habits, James Clear's book. He's talking about if you're trying to build good habits, you need to make them frictionless. You're more likely to go for a run if you have got, you know, your running shoes by the door. You don't have to hunt around for them. Don't put them away, or put a towel and some trunks and a pair of goggles in the boot of your car. Basically, any barrier that you have between you and the things that you want to do is going to stop you doing it. It's friction. And likewise, it's a good idea to put friction between yourself and the things that you don't want to do. So for example, all of my social media apps are in a folder on my phone that say social media, and they're not, when I turn my phone on, they are not available straight away. I know it's only one button press away from where they would be on the home screen, but they're not on the home screen. End of story. They're just, they're kind of buried away. And as a result, I tend not to press on them so much. So creating friction. I had a friend who told me his flatmate used to put his television in a cupboard every night. If he wanted to watch something, he had to get the television out and plug it in, and it stopped him watching so much TV, and also valued what he did watch. So this idea of friction. So when I moved here, and I got this amazing space, and don't get me wrong, I'm aware that, I know this is my job, it's not a man cave. Somebody stuck their head around the door the other day and went, oh, amazing man cave. Like, dude, this is literally my office. Everything I do that isn't in a lecture room or a recording studio is in here. But I am lucky to have it. A lot of people have got very much smaller and less flexible places. So as a result of that, I'm maximising it. So things like making the videos were a bit of a problem because I had to get the camera out and quite often charge the batteries and set the lights up and move things out of the way. So as a result, whether you can see this or not, it might bleach out, but they're coming from the ceiling here are a couple of lights. So they're just good to go. They're basically all on a plug top over there. And when I come in, I've got cables here for the camera, and literally, I mean, genuinely, within seconds, I can be up and running and filming. Whatever idea I have, whatever I want to shoot, I'm good to go. And as you'll see in just a second with the last little bit of the studio, the batteries should be good to go also. So that is the point of all of this. Even with the guitar over here, there's a cable running underneath this that literally goes up to that interface over there. I don't have to do anything to be able to record an idea. In seconds, I can be up and running. And that is part of the secret of my kind of productivity. There's been a few comments recently going, I don't know how, you know, I sort of can't keep up with watching your videos, let alone how you're making them. This is how I'm making them. Everything is to hand. The only thing lacking or sometimes takes time is the idea. And I'm kind of full of those at the moment, in which case this seems to work. Right, let's turn that light around because I'll show you the last couple of little bits of what's going on over here. I guess to some extent this is also a little bit like the laminate thing. All of the stuff from London to Paris is under here, race numbers, and I won a trophy here. This is hilarious actually, some of you will know about this. The only trophy I've ever won for cycling was for turning up to cyclocross races and I kept turning up, but I kept getting worse. I actually went third from last to second to last, and then I think I placed last twice. So I actually got progressively worse, and the club decided to give me something called the Meritorious Cup for not giving up. Only cycling trophy I've ever won. Signed number from Tom Scoynes, loads of different bottles and things like that. That was from Greg Van Avermaet, gave that to Indy, so it's in there for safekeeping, that's his. So loads of other bits and pieces in there, and some lenses and all that kind of jazz. Original GoPro, where is it? That's an original GoPro. Hold on. This is the first ever HD GoPro they made, and I bought two of those, HD Hero 2 and one of these, to film drum videos, because obviously they're super wide angle and you can put them above the drum kit and you can see the whole drum kit. So that's why I've got those, and that was my first DSLR, which I used to film loads of drum videos on. No continuous autofocus, but it's all right. It's a pretty good camera. There you go. And then finally, this little section here is basically where I prep any cameras for any productions that I've got to go and do. This box here is like the stuff that I grab all the time. Things like my GoPro and some lights and the 360 camera and stuff like that. All just live in there, right by the door, ready to go, always charged up. If I've got to prep any cameras or anything for any shoots, they're all on here. Or any lenses need cleaning, any batteries that need to be charged go here, and they get charged up here on this rack. And then all the stands and what we call support, camera support, lighting stands, sliders, tripods. I have a gimbal somewhere. I think I've bought 5 gimbals and sold 4 of them. And the only reason I haven't sold the 5th one is because I think it's worth about 50 quid. I don't really get on with gimbals, as you can tell. Maybe I should be using one. And so now when you see this shot, you know what's around me and what kind of a lovely, inspiring, but probably the reason it's inspiring is it's productive, it's frictionless. That's the space that I get to do all these things in. I haven't shown you this. This is a beautiful G-Plan sideboard that I picked up for next to nothing as well, that the mixing desk sits on. Beautiful. Okay, so let's quickly recap yesterday. Yes, you didn't see the run that I did at the end of the day. I did go out and do that. A little bit of story attached to that. I did mention to somebody in the comments that there was a bit of a story attached to my run yesterday. I made 2 errors yesterday that might indicate I'm getting a bit tired and that I need to have a properly good rest over the weekend. The first one was I mixed up Roxy Music and Talking Heads. Bizarre incident at work. The second thing was I got back from work and I knew I had to go out for a run. If I sat down, it was game over. So I came in, said hi to Bex. So I'm going to go for a run. Got my running kit on, got my Garmin on, got my heart rate strap, got everything on, GPS logged in, everything. Kissed Bex, see you later, bye. Went to go out the door, realised I hadn't put my running shoes on. So that's a very unusual incident. So it probably means I need to have a bit of a rest. However, did the run. So yesterday complete. Today, I haven't done anything yet. I've got shoulders workout to do, and then I've got to go boxing. Don't know if you can hear this, but I've got a little bit of a cold going on. That doesn't mean I'm going to cop out. What that means is I'm going to pull back a fraction. I'm just going to lay off for a second. It's a freshers flu thing. I get this every year. It usually amounts to nothing. It's in my head. It's not in my chest, but all good to go. So that's the plan. And tomorrow I am working from home again. So in the evening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through what we've got in the gym going on. It's a bit of a mess in there because it gets used a lot. But yeah, there we are. That's it. Day 4 done. And you'll have to wait until tomorrow to see how I get on with the shoulder session and the boxing. But for the time being, just try and think about where you can reduce any friction between what you do and what you want to do. Otherwise, take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow.